Hey everybody, in this video, I'm going to give you the best answer to the job interview question, what are your salary expectations? I'm also going to give you the best answer to this question when it's asked on a job application form, because surprisingly, these two answers aren't the same. Let's get into it. Okay, before you go to a job interview, do yourself a favor and do some preparation for this question. They are going to ask you it, and they're going to ask you it pretty forcefully, so you better have an answer ready. Here's the deal. Before you get to the interview, make sure that you know what amount of money makes sense for you to take this job. They're going to try and lowball you, so it's very important that you know how low you can go to the point where it stops making any sense. Forewarned is forearmed. Now, you get to the job interview and they say, what are your salary expectations? Here's what's going on. They don't actually know how much you're worth. They have no idea how much you're worth. And so what better way than to ask the candidate directly, how much are you worth? And then what they're probably going to do is offer you slightly less than whatever number they give you, assuming you're within a reasonable range. Now, for this reason, we want to be able to avoid giving a single number. This is extremely important. Whatever number that you give them, they're going to assume that's what you're worth, and they're going to try and lowball you. Okay? So we have to do everything to avoid giving the number. A popular way of doing this is to say, well, I would really need to know more details about the job before I can give you an answer on that. Okay? Especially if this is your first interview and they ask you this question towards the beginning of the interview, that's a great answer. Okay? It gets you out of answering this question. Now, if they don't go for that and they ask you again, even more forcefully, they follow up, you can say, well, I understand that this is an approved position and therefore the salary range has been approved. Can I ask what it is? So you're throwing the question back at them. And for them to answer, they'd probably give you a range and say, oh, well, this is the range. And then whatever they say, you say, well, that works fine for me, right? So once again, you passed the question, but you didn't actually lock yourself down to a number. And this is the name of the game. Now, a lot of times, even that doesn't work, and they press you even harder. You must give a number, okay? The great thing to do is to then give a range, a wide range. A range where the lower number and the higher number are both still within reason, but just, okay? So that way you don't lock yourself into a low number, and it allows you to pass this question so they don't eliminate you because you asked for too much money, but it still allows for you to ask for more money later on, and there's no issue of you going back on what you said earlier. It's great. That's how we answer this in an interview. That's how we would like to answer this. Now, here's the problem though, okay? What if you're filling in a job application form, maybe part of a web form or something online, where you have to put a number into the field and you can't skip the question and you can't put anything other than a number? What do you do then? Well, here's the deal. First of all, you probably don't know every single detail of this job, okay? You don't know if the boss is great. You don't know if they give generous breaks, if they allow you flex time or remote work. You don't know what the benefits are like at this point. You don't know if there's shift work or shift premiums. You don't know what it's like for vacation or vacation scheduling. There's a million details you don't know about this job, and those would all play a factor in what you would need for your salary. Well, since you don't know any of these, let's play a game. Let's imagine that all of those details, all those blank spaces, they're all the best case scenario. So perfect job. It's a dream job in every other respect. Now, how much money would you need to do that job? Fill that in. It'll probably be a very low amount. Now, later on, as you learn more of these details and these blank spaces are filled in with information they provide you with, then you can always revise your number because you gave the best number at the time, and now that you've learned more, you're going to revise your number, usually upwards. Okay? That's how we answer this question. What this enables us to do is it enables us to get past any kind of salary requirement filter, so they don't filter you out before you get to a job interview. But it still allows you to be able to revise your number upwards if that makes sense later on. Now, a third kind of part of this is that a default answer that a lot of people would like to give is to simply say, well, market price, whatever the average salary is, that's fine with me. Well, unfortunately, that doesn't work for two reasons. Number one, usually in a job interview, if you're dealing with a recruiter, they'll want an actual number. And so they'll say to you, well, that's all great, but what number would that be, right? So it doesn't really avoid this question. You still have to provide a number. Secondly, the problem is, even if you do find out the average price for your job in your particular region, that doesn't necessarily mean that this organization pays the average price. That's the issue. So some companies pay above market price, other ones pay below market price intentionally. Okay, and there's advantages and disadvantages of both. And unless you know what type of company you're dealing with in this situation, those answers can work out suboptimally, put it that way. So you still come back to the same problem where they need a number. So that's why it's always great to follow the plan of avoiding to give a single number at all costs. And if you absolutely must give a single number, usually on a form of some kind, sketch in all the blank spaces and the unknowns with best case scenario details, and then give a number. And that's how you pass this question, and that's how you get the job in the end. Hopefully that makes sense. Thank you very much. Take care.